for the study you're doing, and those who come at night. You know, so think about, you know, is there a cluster? Is it Busia, Kisumu, and another place, you know? So think about all those things. But when you're writing that methodology and explaining it to the ethics committee, they can actually see this. Remember the first line, it's about having a plan. The design is about having a plan. Starting with whatever design you picked, you can show how you got through all these corners to the point where you get your data. Then data analysis, which we alluded to already. You need to think about it ahead of time. Again, have the biostat person only. Yes, please.
Yes, before we move to data analysis,
yes.
I'm just working on the requirements of health facility in Tharaka County and Southern Cancer screening. So in Tharaka County, we have 191 facilities from level 2 to level 5. So now I want to have a sample size of those facilities. I don't know how I go.
So health facility readiness for something, huh?
Yes.
You know already what comes to mind immediately when you hear her speaking? The first thing as you're talking, I'm hearing clusters. Continue talking. You had finished. So you're looking at health facility readiness for cervical cancer screening. I got it right, huh? So cervical cancer screening. For it's a mess. Ask the question.
So now in Tharaka County, we have 191 facilities from level 2 to level 5. So now I want a sample size of those facilities. So now I don't know what the minimum I will need.
So you're just illustrating the importance of having your biostats person early. But you've just illustrated something else you just talked about. Having background information about the site. This is very, yes. She knows what she has, a research question. Is cervical cancer a big problem? Yes, isn't it? Is screening a big problem? Yes. Is delay a big problem getting to care? Yes. She has a significant research question, isn't it? So the method, I don't know what method you've talked about sampling, but you've not talked about the design. I don't know what else you're doing in there. So you need to think about which design you're using. And because you see, remember census is a perfect picture. If you can do all of them, if it's a survey, and you say, look, this is my cluster, and I'm not telling you to do what I'm saying. I'm just thinking on my feet right now. I already have a sub-cluster, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm using a survey. You can do a survey in all, but you decide how to distribute. Because I don't know this, when you say 2, I don't know, I would do weighted. You know the weighting? Yeah. So how many of the 191 are in number 2? In level 2, how many of these are in number 5? You know what I mean? So I would have a larger sample from, if level 5 has the most people, I would want to have more surveys from there versus the other. So continue the reconnaissance and get the numbers here. That's what I would suggest. And then now we will have a weighted distribution of the numbers you need to tell the story. And what is the minimum number of participants you would need to have a quantitative analysis, tell you, even a bivariate level analysis? The lowest number. I'm not telling you that. But yeah. Do you feel guided?
Yes.
So do this. You have my email in case you get it. All right, but thank you for illustrating. She's already done the, isn't that what you're talking about? So you already have an idea. Is this feasible? Do I have a research question? But also, can I hack this one? And believe me, I can't wait to see your data. If I was a Ministry of Health, I would know for this. So your actors as stakeholders already, you can think about them. All right. So data analysis. Is it lunchtime already? Okay. She hasn't come with the food. Oh, it's here. Okay, let's finish. 2 slides to go. So data analysis, we know this a lot. There's a univariate, bivariate, and multivariate. So univariate is where you're saying how many women were in this data set. You know, how many were 20 years, and that's it. And then sometimes you want to know how many
were women, but they were also from Busia vis-a-vis another place. So you're doing a bivariate. And then multivariate, you're asking, how many were women, young, and whatever, and also late to come for care. Those types of relationships. So when you think about the analysis, the protocol they bring to Iserc should be clear, based on each specific objective, that they have a plan on how they will analyze the data emanating from their variables to answer the specific objectives. So for my supervisors, to make them think through and make them do for each variable separately. Because sometimes they'll just say, I'll use, you've seen correct, I'll use descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, they just write it there. Yeah. But if you let them go, they collect the data and get stuck. And because it's a training opportunity, we need to make them think through each of those specific objects. So the hypothesis they have, the research questions, the data set, and they start thinking about what's my main outcome, what's in the in-between, and stratifying variables. They were talking about multivariate analysis, and which software will I use? Some have written in the protocol to Iserc, I will use SPSS to analyze data. That's all they write for, data analysis. Surely. Even in vivo for all, and you say, explain how you do that. And we encourage them. You always encourage, especially this for students mainly, you don't require it in Iserc. We tell them to start having dummy tables. That's why using the specific objectives helps you to start having dummy tables. How will you report on these findings from a specific object one? And it becomes much easier. So in descriptive, which is the lowest level, where it's univariate and bivariate, here's the example, like we say, how many male, how many female, very easy, and it's done, and pie charts and bar charts make it very easy for us to, and you can lay out this in your Stata or in your SPSS or an Excel sheet, and that we know very well. And now as we get more, you want to get the predictors and what's going on around that issue, we are saying that you use the inferential statistics. You already got a very good sample and you justified your sample, it was generalizable enough for that population. You do the analysis, you make your conclusions, and now we can conclude that the findings from this sample that you have analyzed are speaking about the population that you are working with. So we're saying you run those tests and that should come out very clearly in the protocol. All right? So if the sampling was wrong, or the design was off and all that, even when they do the analysis, it's hard to make conclusions that will be relevant to that study population. So we use confidence intervals, we talk about this, you check the effect of that estimation, and you already had put your p-value at whatever you had said in your protocol, and you're able to confidently say, oh wow, this particular variable has implications for delay, for hypertension, adherence or whatever, or referral. So you need to be clear what the assumptions are, how these assumptions will be verified and analyzed for, what other alternative assumptions might be there, and when you're choosing the model, let's say you're doing the multivariate, where are you putting gender and living economic status? You need to think through that, what you're putting in that modeling. All right? For the inference. And usually, the earlier evidence from other studies helps. You can see in other LMICs which variables they used and how they did the analysis. And you will already have used that when you're writing the proposal. All right? So, all the best. I'll expect your email. Yes. And if I get stuck, I'll refer you to Professor Anne Mwangi. I'll just say, this is my mentee, you must help. Oh, she's amazing. But she keeps saying people go to her and say, help me with my sample. And she says, but I don't know your study. I don't know the design you're using. She's like that. So be very clear. I'm using, now you know that, I'll send the slides. You will say, I'm using this design, and then you give her this background. By the way, she is so good, she can respond in 1 minute. That's what, it's her bread and butter. So I hope like I said again, we had this is something we teach for 2 months or something like that, and you go through each in detail. But I hope that through this workshop, you feel like we've dipped your feet a little bit here and there. And like I said, even after we go, this is a very good friend to us now. We feel like we already have a relationship with Chogoria. We're so proud of what you're doing here and for the community. So I'll be happy if I don't know, I will refer you to resources according to need, and what I know I will share. And now, who is praying for lunch? Okay.
Thank you so much. I feel very challenged. But we shall push forward.
Let's clap for violence.
Yes.
Not like that. Someone did you a nice clap. So, Coconuts are called in Kiswahili
Nazi.
nazi. Utatingiza nazi, ingiza mnazi, ingiza tena. You're trying to see if it's okay, and then utavunja. Alafu chukua selfie. Chukua selfie. Aya, let's go. Tingiza mnazi, tingiza mnazi, vunja. Chukua selfie.
Yes, thank you for that. I'm so sorry. I just go back to that presentation on the strength study. It's very inspiring. The question I have is it that the team in Moi sat down and said, you know what, we have a problem with hypertension. Let's create this proposal. Let's get the partners. Or how did it come about? And then two, for an institution like ours in Chogoria, we are able to get such huge support from different players, like getting a grant to support such a community-based study. How would we go about it? So you can get, because the challenge is always finances. You want to have a study, you want to go to the community, then now when you start making a move, the question is how do you go out there without.
And you're asking a very important question. You're asking about grant writing. That's a grant writing question. How do you decide on the question? How do you decide on the sponsor to aim for? How do you decide on the actors that will be involved? Is it a community engaged study, a community-based study, vis-a-vis health facility? It's a grant. And for that particular one, first of all, and then the reason I'm saying it's a grant-oriented one, many of our grants in APLA are not questions coming out of our observations in our clinics. It's a call. We see the call, what the sponsor is looking for, but we start looking for a call that has something of interest to us. So for instance now, hypertension was already a problem, cancers are a problem, HIV remains a problem. So the moment our team, because we started working on hypertension, and there was a team from Mount Sinai, this is what I've noticed about our colleagues from the north. When they start working on a condition, they run with it almost their whole career, unlike us. Like Violet, if you look at my publications, they're all over the place. The reason being I do mental health, I do MNCH, I do what? Because I bring my toolkit as a social scientist, and so I cross. But then, if someone is working on hypertension, if a grant on hypertension comes up, they say, oh, Violet, there's another hypertension grant. Let's do this, let's do that. So that's partly why. We already had a co-investigator from the north who was working on hypertension. So we had a call and they said, there's this call, would this be of interest? And when we checked, we said, but this is a headache here already. There's non-adherence, there's what? So we brainstormed on we didn't have the project as how can we improve referral. There was just a grant on hypertension and we wondered what to do. And during the meeting, the MOs and the CEOs, we asked them, what are the problems you're observing? And then we looked at the specific things the grant wanted, and they were interested in those types of things. So I think this can be a webinar, something where on, grant writing, but that's actually what happened. And we even HIV work quite often. We went into it because the grant was on HIV, but HIV we had a lot of patients with HIV. But what aspect to focus on, you can choose quite often. It's not a problem. But some sponsors will be already specific. It's HIV, but it's HIV, maybe health promotion, or HIV, whatever it is, whatever arm it is. So for here, maybe there's more focus on studies within the hospital population. That's what you're saying.
It's driven by, at the moment I think it's driven by us.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, like for example, I feel like we have a lot of issues in the community. Like it's so interesting. Like as we speak, we have a patient in Pete's ward with maggots. Like as we speak, I'm just saying like we have a lot of we have a vibrant and we have a lot of things which could prevent coming from hospital, but our attempts to go out are always mad with being a faith-based offensive as a private institution,
Yeah.
we miss out on a lot of this government free things, free guidelines, free things. So we have to look for the money ourselves.
Yeah.
And the money is never enough. There are so many competing interests,
Yeah.
and that's why we are keen on what support can we get, far more than delivering the care, what other support can we get to encourage our residents, consultants, students, interns to do community-based studies without it being like what financial support, like how would we go about to attracting financial support for that?
Yeah, I think we even need to do something on grant writing. But the other thing to remember is a lot of big sponsors now want to see partnership between public and private. So that's where unaweza penya and you start working with even it's a Cambridge PI who needs a site and they need to show that they have then I don't know, it's also about conditions. You see, like now we do a lot of HIV work in Western Kenya. HIV is still a very big problem all the way to the Lake Basin. I don't know what conditions here would be. Maybe diabetes might be a big one here. Yeah, because the data that I know of it because of what we've been doing. So it would be, you need to position yourself in a way that you become a collaborator on grants. The moment you appear on one grant or two, you start featuring.
But how do you?
So, like the conversation we are having.
Will you lift us next time we have?
So like me now, honestly, I'm so in love with what I've seen in this hospital. Like the work we are doing right now with WDF, the World Diabetes Foundation. If there's a way we can have Togore as a partner, I will definitely make that choice. And I'm aware that Murima, we have a problem with diabetes. So we can justify. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that as you get Kasoki's in, Kasoki has stepped up.
Yes. Actually, I have to confess, she's the one who made me do those sessions and very quickly because she told me, I came for that.
Yeah,
that was nice.
As you get her emails, then you can also be expecting other grant-related emails from her.
Yeah, I actually, by the way, I will be sharing routinely grant-related emails, especially the ones I think, based on what I've seen, where I think you can pitch and where I think we can partner. Because right now, the partnering is what is attracting money. Yet you apply on your own. Quite often you will find there's always a section of other partners you're going to work with. Whether the partner will help you with the community entry or with the dissemination, you just have to show something, or with the impact. Because you see, you have reach here, a big reach, and it may be even stronger than the government facility nearest you. So we can make a case for that. Thanks for asking that. But again, sorry to say this, okay, we came for the Iserc training, so that's a bit different, but it relates to the realities of doing research here for you and the fellows that you're training.
If there's something I've learned by being on Iserc and starting to have some these networks, I come to realize that the opportunities are happening over dinner, over lunch, and side, and sometimes they happen organically too. Like now they've come to see us. So now next time
there's a site in Togore.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thanks everybody. Laura, can we have you please pray for our lunch?
Let's pray.
Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we come to pray